The New York Giants have hired Jason Garrett to be their offensive coordinator. He's Lance Medow. I am John Schmeelk. Lance, Giant fans should be very familiar with Jason Garrett, head coach of the Dallas Cowboys from 2010 to 2019, Princeton graduate, former backup quarterback for the Giants, a ton of coaching experience in the NFL.
Yeah, and a lot of ties to the NFC East, John, as you just outlined. He was the offensive coordinator initially in Dallas, and then when they parted ways with Wade Phillips, he took over on an interim basis, ultimately got the permanent gig. So he's been a mainstay in Dallas, and the one thing that has jumped out is the offensive production has been extremely impressive and extremely consistent.
He last called plays the season before they brought in Scott Linehan to be their offensive coordinator, so even as a head coach, he did call plays for Dallas.
Yeah, he's got experiences doing both, and also he has experience overseeing and grooming a lot of young talent too. But to your point, you're talking about somebody that has been the CEO, head coach, and also has been in a position as the offensive coordinator, somebody that's called plays. And also, even when Scott Linehan was the play caller and Kellen Moore, remember, he was still very much involved in terms of the offensive game planning.
And if you go back, you mentioned the young players. When he got there, Tony Romo was still a young quarterback. And then he managed to balance the transition between Romo and Dak Prescott, which can be a very difficult thing, but Prescott hit the ground running as the Dallas Cowboys starting quarterback as a rookie.
Yeah, that was that 2016 season, John, that you just outlined when Romo got hurt with the back injury. Dak Prescott was extremely impressive, and the rest is history. So he did have to navigate that. But I think the most important point is the development of a young quarterback. And you look at Daniel Jones on the Giants roster, it's not so different in terms of bringing along a young quarterback. Also, look at the wide receiver position on this roster. Darius Slayton, for example, is a young wideout. Well, Michael Gallup is somebody who was young on the Dallas roster who really came into his own under the guidance of Jason Garrett.
And of course, he does have Giant connections as well. Was a backup quarterback for the New York Giants from 2000 to 2003.
Yeah, well, as we mentioned, the NFC East and Jason Garrett, I think, have been synonymous with one another, John. And, you know, the Giants have turned to people who have strong ties to this organization previously, but he also has strong ties to the area because Princeton, last time I checked, is not too far away as well.
No question about it. And Joe Judge said it wasn't necessarily a requirement for one of his coordinator positions, but he talked about having a potential coordinator with prior head coaching experience to help him along in learning what it takes to be a head coach in the league, and Garrett certainly checks that box.
Well, and that's been the trend, John, across the National Football League for individuals who are first-time head coaches. Now, Joe Judge has plenty of experience as a coordinator slash wide receivers coach, but to have somebody that he can lean on, to your point, John, who's run teams, who's also run offenses, you can allow them to do their thing, and you don't necessarily have to micromanage them on a daily basis.
And he certainly had run-heavy attacks. He's had pass-heavy attacks, so certainly somebody that knows how to form his offensive attack around his personnel. Thanks for being with us. The Giants have the new offensive coordinator.
Hey Giants fans, Saquon Barkley here. You want to see more videos? Subscribe below.